So, I was having an interesting conversation with my friend today that made me realize the power of reframing and how necessary it is to do in the aviation industry. This is a topic that's dear to my heart. I've done several YouTubes about reframing and mindset, and that's been a journey of mine really since the pandemic when I used to work at Emirates Airline, about how to make your current situation joyful and a fun experience despite it not being exactly what you may want at the time. However, one thing I have realized is that the universe is always providing you what you need, and what you need may not be what you want in that moment. But learning to find joy and try to maintain a high vibe during these times is what is going to help you grow and make your reality just a better experience. Aviation is a very tough industry because it's so easy to become laser focused on the negative things that are happening. Aviation is a very toxic industry, and you tend to absorb what other people are going through, and a lot of people are very focused on the negative things. And for me, my journey has been about focusing on the positive and allowing that to push me through a career and a job and a circumstance that necessarily doesn't always align with my values or always make me feel at my most optimal, but it's an integration playground for me and an opportunity for me to challenge myself and to grow into a higher perspective of being positive and optimistic, even in the most challenging of circumstances. So the reason this conversation was really fulfilling to me right now was because I'm currently writing a book about my experience at Emirates Airline, and there is a somewhat spiritual undertone that's not necessarily blatantly said, but I am using a metaphor of me pursuing an upgrade, of kind of like an upgrade about life. So essentially, I was so obsessed with chasing this upgrade at Emirates, from moving from economy class to business class, that everything else didn't even factor into my reality. And I allowed myself to become so obsessed with this that I wasn't really enjoying the process at some points. And needless to say, I figured that all out, and so that's the journey that my book is going to take people through. What is this metaphor for an upgrade? What is everyone pursuing in their life that maybe, yes, you should be focused on, but you shouldn't be so obsessed with the achievement and the outcome that you are not enjoying the process. So that was my journey, and what I realized was when I came to work in the US as a flight attendant for a different airline, I began to experience somewhat of the same context of patterns, and just in a different environment, right? I'm working in the US, I'm not an international crew now. The lifestyle versus job of being a cabin crew and a flight attendant are very, very different, but I'm finding many of the same patterns repeating. I can be very easily focused on what is negative about my experience. For instance, right now at my airline, we are going through contract negotiations. We're being paid very, very low wages on the junior pay scale, a pay scale that hasn't been updated in 10 years. And due to lots of politics and red tape and union stuff, it's taking a really long time to get this new contract enacted. I could focus on the fact that I'm very junior, my schedule isn't necessarily ideal, and basically I could focus on all the negative aspects of the job. But when I was speaking to my friend, she used to work on cruise ships, and she said, she's now thinking of joining the aviation industry. And I told her, I just want you to be fully informed of what it's like, and for people that are kind of empathic and on pursuit of chasing a high vibe, the environment can be a little challenging. And she was like, that's exactly why I'm going into it. No one is going to dim my light. Nothing is going to dim my light. And she came to me with this perspective exactly when I needed to hear it. These are all things that I already know, but integrating what you know and knowing something is totally different. And she was like, if I was able to get through the cruise industry, which you could totally nitpick the same way in aviation and be really dragged down by all the negative aspects of it, I wouldn't have survived it, but I did, and here I am now about to join aviation. And I was like, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now in this moment. And that's why the universe is always giving you what you need. I needed to have that conversation with her. I needed that reminder and that mirror of the fact that this process of me writing this book about my former experience at Emirates Airline is really the same experience of integrating those lessons just at a new airline. And the reason I'm taking so long to edit and write this book is because I'm still learning these lessons and integrating them. And I bet when I graduate from this pattern that I need to understand and grow from, I'm going to be done with my book. So every era has a reason. And I feel my chapter in aviation is wrapping up, but there's still more for me to learn. And this was a wonderful reminder for me to focus on the positive, focus on good things, because that's what changes your reality. If you focus on the negative, that's all you're going to come across. I mean, it's the law of the universe. It's the law of energetics. If you're in a low vibe, you're going to attract low vibe things to you. If you're in a high vibe, you're going to attract higher vibe things. So that was the conversation I needed to hear. Hopefully that helps you, especially anyone else in aviation right now, because I know things are tough. And it's okay to hold space for what is and what is challenging, but not let that be the only space you're holding. That's my shift in perspective, and I wanted to share it with you. Let me know if that helps you in the comments.